This is the plaintiff, Edward Froelich. He says he hired the defendant to move his belongings, and the guy ended up stealing 10 boxes containing his valuable sports memorabilia collection. He has since found out that dude's a convicted felon, and his only recourse at this point is to get the courts involved to recoup some of his losses. He's suing for $5,000, the amount he's most definitely out. This is the defendant, Dries Piquel. He says he's never stolen anything in his life. Yes, he's been in fights, had a beer bottle to the face, stabbed a few times, but stealing? Never in a million years. Basically, the plaintiff is garbage for accusing him of such an act. He's innocent of all the charges and will prove it here today. He's accused of pilfering some memorabilia.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
And welcome back to People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff hired the defendant to move his stuff, his sports memorabilia in particular, and says 10 boxes got pilfered. The defendant admits he's been stabbed a few times, had a rough life, but he would never steal. It's the case of thanks for the memories.
Thank you, Douglas. Edward Froelich, you are suing Dries Piquel, your mover, for $5,000. You say that you're damaged actually to the tune of $12,000, in excess of $12,000, because according to you, he stole sports memorabilia from you when he moved you. Tell me what happened.
I had a relative of his recommend a mover, and I wanted to get the movers when I first moved to that residence to come, but they were busy, so she recommended him.
Were the first movers real movers, like professional movers that were a business?
More of it. More of
it. You either are or you're not. It's like a little bit pregnant. There's no like in between. Okay, you are not a professional mover, correct?
34 years I've been doing it.
Are you a professional mover?
Yeah, I own Connecticut Packing Company.
Are you licensed?
Not anymore.
Does that company pay corporate dues, and is it in existence right now?
Not anymore.
Okay, well then you don't. You used to own Connecticut Packing Company. All right, so go ahead.
So we did the move, and
who's present at the moving?
Himself, the person next to him, and his stepfather.
That's it?
No, they were there for a couple days of packing. Okay. Then he told me.
So you were paying them to pack you too?
Yeah.
Okay. And
then when the day of the move came, he brought some other guys that he said was his crew.
Okay. So then what happened?
After that, then when I started going through the moving stuff, unpacking it after the move was done, that's when I realized the theft had occurred.
Okay, and what was the theft?
My sports collectibles.
How long after they moved you in did you notice the sports collectibles were stolen?
Probably the next day. But I couldn't get in touch with him for a while because when I called his house, they kept telling me he's on the road, he's unavailable, he's not here.
Did you file a police report?
Not till I wanted to get in touch with him first. So then I got in touch with...
Why? He's the guy who stole it, right, according to you?
Well, I was just trying to find out because the person he's with was involved in that too. So that time it took to get in touch with him...
How much time did it take to get in touch with him?
Almost a month.
So a month later is when you surface and say my boxes have been stolen?
No, what I did was go around my area and I heard that some stuff was being sold out in the street. So then I told him that you better check with Chad's where my stuff is.
Well, the first time you tell him you better check with Chad where my stuff is a month later? Why did it take a month?
I couldn't get in touch with him.
Why would you not call the police?
I wanted to get in touch with him first.
Okay, and then you got in touch with him. Then did you call the police?
What happened was when I called him, he said, you stop calling my house or I'm going to call the police and say you're harassing me. So then,
okay, but why wouldn't you call the police and say he stole my stuff? Did you ever call the police and say he stole my stuff?
Not till I talked to him.
Okay, then did you call the police? After you talked to him, did you call the police?
Yes.
Okay, did you file a police report?
Yes, I did.
Okay, do you have the police report with you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so then your police report will be filed 1 month after the move. That's what you're telling me.
More than 1 month.
More than 1 month. All right. Now, you had said something about hearing through the grapevine that things were being sold. Tell me that.
Yes. Can I bring up a witness?
Sure.
Hi, Your Honor.
Hi.
I'm friends with some people that play on the same softball team as these guys. This guy over there.
The defendant or the one seated?
The one sitting down.
Okay.
And 2 guys came up to me on 2 different occasions saying that he was trying to sell a leather Dallas Cowboys jacket and a leather New York Yankees jacket.
Okay. Are those people here?
No.
Do you have an affidavit from those people?
Nope. Nobody wanted to sign anything.
Okay. And so did you tell that to the police?
Yep.
Yes, I do.
Mr. Pickell, what's going on?
Number one with the police.
First of all, why do you have a garbage bag there?
Oh, it's evidence.
You keep your evidence in a garbage bag?
Well, what it is.
What have you got in there?
These were the items he gave me.
Gave you.
Yes.
Meaning? Oh, there we go.
There was also a hat that my son has that he wouldn't give me this morning.
Your son wouldn't give you.
Yeah, he's 6 years old.
Well, I don't blame him. If what the plaintiff is saying is true, I wouldn't give it to you either. Okay,
But
go ahead.
I'm a Colts fan, and during the move, those are the items he gave me. That's all I've ever had.
Okay.
I'd like to just...
Who's the person who recommended you?
My niece.
That's your niece?
My cousin. My cousin.
All
Penny.
right.
Penny.
And who are the? Do you know the? I'm under the impression that you know the first movers who were unavailable.
My brother-in-law.
That was your brother-in-law. And why was your brother-in-law unavailable to move him or
He
unwilling?
refused to.
He refused to. Why?
Same thing. Same.
What do you mean
He
the
did the same
same
thing to him
thing?
that he's trying to do to me.
Wait. Tell me what you mean. I don't know what you mean.
Steal, wreck his stuff.
I don't understand. Your
I'm
brother-in-law refused to move him because your brother-in-law got accused of stealing and wrecking stuff?
Yeah.
But he's saying he loved your brother-in-law's move. Did you accuse them of stealing
No,
or
they
wrecking?
did a great job.
If the brother-in-law got accused of that, why would you then take the job?
Oh, well, he didn't tell me this until later. But
If your brother-in-law got accused of that, why would your cousin recommend you? She would know about the brother-in-law getting accused of that.
I didn't. All she did was call me on the phone. She said, "Will you do the job?"
Do you have an affidavit from your brother-in-law?
No.
Okay, so what happened here?
First of all, I went and packed this job. I didn't realize that it was as big as it was. But number one, I was never up in the attic to pack any of the memorabilia.
Well, the question is not what
Right.
the question is whether you or any of your people
Right,
did
okay,
it.
No. All the boxes were numbered. On the day we were to go to deliver, I told him, I says, go to destination so you could check in the stuff. He didn't show up there till 8 o'clock at night and he was drunk.
He didn't
that's
show
a
up
lie.
until 8 o'clock at night?
8 o'clock at night and he was drunk. And then he said that I was missing. I was transporting the stuff from New Milford to Danbury, Connecticut, back and forth. Now, as far as the police are concerned, the officer that originally did it said she found no reason for me to, that I invited them to my house. They came to my house. They looked.
The police went to your house?
Yes.
I mean, of course, this is 2 months later, but
Yeah, but the thing was, I never had anything in the first place.
they go to
man.
Chad's house? Is that Chad sitting down there? Who's that
He was,
gentleman
he
there?
was never involved in this until way later.
Was he part of the move?
Yeah, he was a packer.
Okay,
So was my
come on,
father.
step close to the microphone, please.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. Okay. According to that gentleman there, somebody who's not here for me to cross-examine says that you were trying to pawn off some sports paraphernalia.
That is untrue.
Stand up, please. What is the name of the person who told you that?
Do I really have to say,
Well, not only if you want it to
Well,
be a pro. I mean, you're giving me nothing. That's not just hearsay. It's double hearsay.
There's two guys.
Because I mean, it's beyond hearsay. So it's useless to me, really. So no, you don't have to say their name if you'd rather not, because it's not going to be all that probative anyway.
No.
But at least I could find out a little bit of something and delve in here.
Also, the bar,
Also, that means that I'm not going to get the name. Okay.
the
go
bar
ahead.
that sponsors the softball team that he's on, the bartender there told me that he rolled into the parking lot in a van, opened up the van, and had boxes full of jerseys and jackets and caps, trying to sell it. And
Okay, then why didn't you get an affidavit from the bartender? Okay.
Nobody wants to.
Excuse
Okay.
me, Your Honor.
Yeah.
May I ask who was driving that van?
I don't know. Who did the
wasn't there.
bartender tell you
I
was
wasn't
driving the
there.
van? I don't know, because the bartender's not here for me to cross-examine, so I
And
can't
I don't
tell
have
you.
a license.
Who supposedly was driving the van?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Okay, because you don't have a license?
don't
You're proud of
drive.
that fact.
I don't
Okay,
drive.
so that wouldn't have been you driving the van, okay? Or it could have been without a license. Go ahead.
Detective Monroe from the police department tried to get this guy to come in.
Which
for-
guy?
This guy over here for the last
Okay.
2 weeks. And the guys refused, and he said he didn't want nothing to do with it.
Oh, he was
Yeah.
telling the police he didn't want to
Yeah.
talk to the police? How do
Yeah.
you know that?
Because the police told me.
Me?
So the police are chatting with
You're
you?
the witness that saw him apparently do this stuff. And the reason is because that's hearsay too. Because it never happened. I don't steal. I never have stolen, and I wouldn't steal. And nobody on my crew would ever be allowed to do that. He's worked for me 12 years, on and off.
Have you-
Never stole nothing.
Have you ever been arrested for any theft type crime?
Never.
Have you ever been arrested for any theft type
No,
crime?
Your Honor.
Do you run records checks on the people who work for you?
Yes. Well, no, I don't have to, because they're the only people that I know. I know them for years.
They're friends of yours?
Yes.
So you would have known if they got
Oh,
arrested?
yeah.
Okay.
Trust me, we're close. You know, most of my family. My stepfather. There's a letter here from him because he couldn't be here. He packed up there with Chaz.
Judge, all I could say is he told me his crew is his regular crew. So at the end of the day, when I paid him, the other guys were outside, and I said, hey guys, how long have you been working for this guy? Long time? He said, no, he just hired us from the homeless shelter this morning.
Really?
Excuse me, ma'am.
And you say that's not true?
Oh, no, those guys, yeah, because I needed extra men.
Oh, okay.
Charles Hanson. Wait a minute. Charles Hanson's worked for me for many, many years, and my stepfather and me have been in business since '95. We were all there.
Tell me about the damage. According to you, they damaged your computer desk, they damaged your entertainment center, and they damaged your walls. They damaged a collectible ship. They damaged your Star Trek collection. What does that mean? What's it?
It's just personal property I had.
But what is the Star Trek collection?
I have pictures of it. It's just little things that go on your desk or whatever.
Let me see what you've got. Hand it to Douglas, please. Did you know that these folks were neither licensed nor insured at this point?
I figured that this was just a side job for him, and I was trying to make save some money on the moving costs, but I ended up losing thousands because I hired him.
We have a name for that in Spanish. Lo barato sale caro. The cheap comes out expensive. Okay, now you found out that he was a convicted felon, correct?
That's what I was told.
Yes, you were told. You realize you can't prove a case with what you were told?
I know. I tried to get affidavits from the other members on the baseball team that know Chaz.
And you didn't. And what about this damage to the stuff?
The computer desk is press board. No mover insures that. That's just not.
Well, you don't insure anything. So the question is, it's not a matter of insuring.
Okay, the thing was, he was told right from the beginning.
Do you have a contract with him where you exclude press board and all this other stuff, or
there was no contract to anything?
Okay, yeah, there was. So it's just all verbal, right?
Yeah. If Mr. Froelich would have been at the house the way when I first went there in the beginning of the day, I says, I need you to go to destination so this stuff can be placed. The chance of damage would have been minimized if we didn't have to.
Why chance of damage would have been minimized?
If we didn't have to move the stuff 3 times because he just didn't tell us where to put anything. So everything was set into the living room, and then you had to dig through it to move this stuff here, move that stuff here. And press board is not insurable anyway. If it's press board, it's just.
Well, I don't know why you keep saying insurable. It's either I don't care what it is. If I put this in your hand, it belongs to me, and you damage it, then I'm entitled to its value because you damage it because you're implicit in our contract is that you're not going to damage my stuff. So this whole it's not insurable. That only works if you have a contract and you exclude it from being covered, and that didn't happen because you don't have a contract. You chose to do it on the sly. He chose to do it on the sly, and so the sly is what you get. Now you're left with the regular rules. There's nothing to protect you that it's not insurable or is insurable. Now I'm looking through these pictures, and what's the Star Trek stuff that you say was ruined? I don't know what that's a picture of, but it looks like a spaceship. Is that what you're trying to?
It's a little sign that it lights up, but if you look at the bottom of the picture, it's cracked open.
How do I know that? Okay. You know, I mean, these things are a little bit difficult. You know.
I did.
I know. No, you took a good picture of it. I'm just saying, how do I know it wasn't that way beforehand? I do see some nicks to the wall. And then what is this a picture of? That's a stereo?
That's the entertainment center. It was all chipped up.
That's the entertainment center.
That's one of them. Then there's another one that has no knobs on it. And there it is.
It was like that.
Okay. You know.
He probably still has it in his pocket.
The knobs? And what's this a picture of?
That's for some of the model ships that I collected that were, all the bows were broken off.
Your Honor?
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, because of his not being there when I started that day.
I don't care if he was there or if he wasn't.
I know, but
he should be there. But that's not the problem. The problem is you run a big risk when you have somebody touching all your stuff. And your stuff is not like other people's stuff. According to you, your stuff is really, really valuable. Your body should be there when they're packing it to make sure nobody puts it in their pocket. And you know, on top of that, you should be on the other side to receive all of it, to make sure nobody does anything with it. And it should be numbered by you so that you know what's in control, not just they're in control. And so you should watch each box come in. And then while you're watching each box come in, you say, wait a minute, numbers 71 through 80 are missing. Where are they? And then you call the police, and that all the things that are supposed to happen in a situation like this, none of it happened. Instead, you're somewhere else. Everybody's taking care of stuff for you. And, you know, all of a sudden, and a month later is when a complaint happens, and that makes things very difficult. It's a great case. If I had people come in and you're saying, I saw that guy trying to pawn off this stuff. I mean, that's a fabulous case, but that's not the case I have. I have you just claiming somebody says that.
So this dude is saying, you gotta believe me. I talked to these witnesses. They won't come in, but believe me, Your Honor, they saw him take the stuff, or his people. Is that enough?
You need witnesses. You can't go by somebody's face.
But if you can judge him and he's like really being sincere, doesn't that cut it for you?
the witnesses don't matter. They're not trustable if they won't testify.
They are not trustable witnesses. That's the bottom line going inside the courtroom.
You got to count. Listen, this is very, very difficult for you to prove. Very difficult. I don't know if you're going to have any better luck with the police, but unless those people are willing to testify, and any one of them, because apparently there's a bartender, there's all these other friends. If any one of them are willing to come forward, you got a pretty good case. But if none of them are willing to come forward, you're not going to have any better of a criminal case than you have of a civil case. And that's the problem, because you decided to hire Mo, Curly, and Larry to move you, and now you're complaining that it's, about all these things that you discover later, and that's a problem. I mean, it's a problem. I cannot, in good conscience, based on what you have placed in front of me, say that this man stole your stuff. I just can't, any more than you can. All right. On your claim against him, based on the damage that I am able to see in those pictures to some really old stuff, okay, I am going to award you $200. That is my verdict. $200 verdict for the plaintiff on the damages to the furniture and the walls.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Kurt's talking to the litigants in the hallway, so stick around.
Let's first talk to the plaintiff, find out how satisfied he is with the award coming out of this case of $200. You sued for $5,000. What about it?
I needed to have the affidavit from the witnesses that seen him selling my stolen stuff, and that's probably what's bothering the most. And as far as a criminal case, I have to deal with the same situation to have these affidavits. But
are you sure he did it?
I'm positive.
All right, head right out this way, okay?
All right, guys.
See what he has to say. Okay, come on in here and tell me how you feel about the outcome of this case now.
If they want to give them $200 for the damage of the stuff, but as far as anybody ever saying I stole anything, no. I've never stolen anything in my life.
Well, you said, a lot of other things have happened to you in your life, right?
I was a bouncer, a furniture mover. I mean, I've been bumped up in fights and stuff. You grew up with a name like Pickle. It's kind of rough.
Yeah. Pickle?
Yeah. It's Pickle, but everybody called you Pickle anyway.
And you also had that, Mickey Rourke kind of thing going on there, too.
Oh, thanks.
All right, over to Harvey.
Okay, Kurt, this is a really common problem. If you hire a mover, you got to make sure they're licensed, because if they're licensed, there's some protection. It means that they have to answer, say, to the State Department of Consumer Affairs in order to keep doing business. But even if they're licensed, most movers limit their liability, so they only have to pay a fraction of what something valuable is really worth. That's why, even with a licensed mover, you have to get moving insurance to make sure you protect yourself.